Hey everyone, welcome back to File New. My name is Ryan Selvey. File New is the weekly Wednesday show where we keep you up to date with all of the latest creator news, design news, art news, you name it. And we go over updates to Adobe products, other things that are happening in the creator world, font of the week, rebrands, and it's just a really good time. We have a flurry of links if you want to access them. They are available in the Raindrop link, which is put in both the chat and also put in the description of both YouTube and Behance. This is a live stream on both of those things, but that said, I like to make it as replayable and watchable as possible. So would love to hear links you're interested in seeing or talking about, work that you want to spotlight, and make sure you go and you join the Discord, which is the Adobe Live Discord, also linked in the description. And that's a really great place to get links to me if you want to have them featured in the show, or you want to continue talking about something that you saw on the show, or following up, or just continuing to talk to friends that happen to be here in chat, like Alyssa and Penny and Bree, Winter. Thank you guys all for being here on the YouTube side. And then, of course, over on our Behance side with friends, we have Apurva, Oliver, Wade, Cody, you name it. So thank you guys for being here. We are here for about the next hour, so we've got a lot to get through. And like I said, if there's anything that you guys have that you want to talk about and you want to incorporate in the show, please by all means let me know. But we're going to start off with our first segment, which is just news. So for news today, there's not too much news that's happening, to be completely transparent. Basically, we had the Memorial Day weekend here in the USA, and that means that a lot of the businesses and a lot of updates and stuff were kind of pushed down the road or pushed before. So there are a few things, but the primary focus of our show today is actually not going to be news. We only have about, I think, like 3 news stories or so. But I wanted to start off with a cool update. I guess not cool at all, but the idea that Discord is now solving a problem that it created. And this comes from Amanda Silberling at TechCrunch. And basically, if you are familiar with Discord, as you should be, because you're going to join that Adobe Live Discord, of course, but you can notice that there's a lot going on. There's a lot of discourse in the Discord. And basically, it's hard to keep up with. It's hard to follow. It's hard to get into. They've experimented with message boards, which are places where you can go and it feels more like a forum. But there definitely serves a purpose of forums that kind of gets lost a lot in Discord. It's the idea that it is like searchable, archivable, things past months and weeks and years even. Sometimes I find myself in forums that are from like 2003 that provide valuable information. But with the nature of Discord, a lot of that gets buried no matter how much you pin it or whatnot. Apparently, there is talk that they are looking into creating some sort of overview or AI reader that would then be able to go through messaging on Discord and would be able to then kind of give a summary or track back important information that it could then pull out. Of course, this is all things that Discord itself created. But it says that according to the Discord Senior Vice President of Product, Peter Sellis, says that the company is thinking about how to solve this issue. He says that Discord wants to work on features that are more amicable to structured knowledge sharing, like forums, that we could probably do a better job investing in. And that comes on reporting from Amanda Silberling and also reporting from The Verge as well, which you guys know that we love to do. Winter says, I thought it was just me that missed Discord messages. Oh boy. You are definitely not. It is something that I think everyone kind of struggles with, but at the same time, Discord is a really great place to talk about things. Is you just have to be there when the conversation's happening, kind of like a cafeteria or, any sort of conversation where that's actively going on, and you can kind of show up and you can kind of maybe reignite the conversation. But as far as the conversation goes in the moment, I feel like it's all. Clever says, keep it busy with itself. Yeah, seriously. Also, welcome back to Colby Kleitz. See you in the chat. Colby sometimes streams with us on Adobe Live. Thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning on in. Alyssa's asking over on YouTube, how's the chat family doing today? How is everyone doing? Where's everyone tuning in from? Would love to hear as we move on to our next story, which is a cool collaboration that's coming from MoMA and Polaroid. And it comes from an article that I saw on Fast Company. It's coming from Grace Snelling, and it says Polaroid's Tumblr Core MoMA, which is the Museum of Modern Art, collab turns your photos into works of art. The exclusive collection includes a MoMA branded Polaroid camera and custom colorful film frames. So you guys know that obviously Polaroid is iconic for its use of these printable photos that happen in an instant setting. It is something that has been kind of focused on with, Andy Warhol, but it's also been a big focus on the Tumblr era of like 2014. And so basically, Grace Snelling in this article is bringing out the idea that these new bright full color, they really like make the image themselves have this set of like filters on it. It says that the partnership includes 2 exclusive items, an 130 Polaroid camera and a separate $22 set of 8 custom film frames. The camera itself is an analog instant camera, the Polaroid Now Generation 3 model, and it's rendered in a bright blue housing, complete with a MoMA wordmark in a lighter blue across the front. Included with the device are 3 neon MoMA branded wrist straps to customize the look. It has this color I-type film, which is the ones that come with the 8 instant photos, and really pulls a saturation and colors that are reminiscent of nostalgic, kind of, I don't want to say, chronically online aesthetics. And it's interesting to see that this collaboration is happening, and also the amount of time that has passed. And at a point, Polaroid was also vintage of itself. So to see that it's also on vintage, but then now revisited again, is super fascinating to me. Would you guys be interested in getting something? Do you guys already have an instant camera? Let's go ahead. Let's throw a poll in the chat, and I'm gonna say, do you have an instant camera? And we're going to start that poll. If you're over on Behance, make sure you hop over to YouTube so that you can vote on that poll, and we'll continue going while we have that running in the background. But they're fun. My fiance had it at his bachelor party. They had an instant camera, and it was really cool because at the end they had this like book that they could then flip through and figure out but kind of reminisce on the week that just happened. Next up, last one for news of this week are Gen Alpha is getting zits. So acne brands are meeting them at a popular hangout. Skincare brands, including the acne brand Differin, are flocking to Roblox to teach their newest, youngest customers. This is on Fast Company as well. This comes from Parisia Cavanellas. And basically, this is something we've talked about a lot over and over again. And I'm sorry, I know I keep mentioning it. But to me, this feels very reminiscent and parallel to the idea that, like, before TikTok was TikTok, it was Musical.ly. And there was this gigantic surge of young users in a generation that was coming up and becoming of their age. And they were all using Musical.ly. And I remember for my old agency job, I kept pointing to it and being like, guys, look, this is simmering. It turned into TikTok, continued to simmer. And then it blew up to TikTok to what it is now. Roblox is one of those things. We are talking dozens of millions and hundreds of millions of users are on this platform. And anyone who's over the age of 12 kind of, is not really ever using it. You never hear anybody like going to work and being like, oh yeah, well, I was checking out on Roblox. That said, if you are a creator, if you are a designer, if you are anyone that is creating things online that you want people to see, and you want to continue to not just live in the bubble of your own generation or the generation that is above you or have existed, Roblox, as of right now, is something that continues to pop up over and over and over again. So basically what this article that was on Fast Company is talking about is that there are these new interactive experiences where they can go and they're talking to the younger generation. There's like, acne brands and they're like maker skin brand, Switzerland-based Galderma, Cetaphil, and Differin are using this as a platform to have people like wash off different stuff and have that be a part of kind of like a game and gamifying this Differin, but then also having some brand recognition. And and it is a little bit of like a gold rush or so. I know a few weeks ago we also talked about Walmart being in Roblox. I don't know. I know we're talking about it a lot. I keep bringing it up, but I just really want to focus on the fact that it is something that if you are in charge of your social media or something like that, to keep an eye on it. And as always, we always like to say, this is Ryan Selvey calling out these things, not Adobe. I will let you know when it is Adobe news and Adobe content. But as far as this is not an Adobe endorsement. This is just Ryan Selvey talking about creator updates for you. But that's all the news we have. Does anyone in the chat have any news or information that they came across that they would like to shout out? Yeah, I guess we can go check out on this poll that we were looking at, though, with Insta cameras. And of all the votes, we have 57% of you say no, you do not have an Insta camera, whereas 43 say yes. So it's almost a halfway split, which is interesting. We see Kara Sykes in the chat saying the Fuji Insta Mini is worth it. The film isn't too expensive. Yeah, because I feel like that's another part of it, of resources. Like you get the camera, the camera's great. You have a digital camera, is good. But as soon as you run out of film and you have to get new film, like suddenly you have to focus on restocking that, and that can add up and kind of become its own thing over and over again. Clever's also saying, I wanted to give an instant camera to a man over age 80 and still might. Oh, who is the man over 80 in your life? Please tell more. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to end the poll over for Adobe Live, because what we're going to do is we're going to hop from that poll into a new poll. And you might say, Ryan, what poll is that? And that is none other than our weekly segment, which is called Font of the Week. Did you know that if you go to fonts.adobe.com, you have this wonderful resource at your hands? It has all of these typefaces that are constantly being added to the inventory of things that you can just add onto your programs with a click of a button. This is all things that are included in your subscription that you have for Creative Cloud. You can go and you can search for tags like geometric, friendly, rough, fun, funky, futuristic. And there was recently, a few weeks ago, maybe even a month at this point, Monotype just added hundreds of new typefaces. You can always kind of look through trending now as well, and new releases, hidden gems. And then even when you go into this top area, you can go to recommendations, and there's even a For You tab. So if you're feeling a little bit, reminiscent of social media, you can go and you can pop in things that are specifically tailored to other ones that you've activated in your library. But for us and our sake, we're going to go check out 3 typefaces, and we're going to have you guys vote. And then we put this cute little emoji crown on top of it at the end of this, the polling, which then, we get to pick out who's the winner. I always tell you guys, don't vote too early, because as we hop into it, you might learn something about one of the typefaces, and then you might want to switch up your vote, and it'll be like, sorry, too late. So last week, it was this skateboarding typeface that was like a little skateboarder on top of it. And that was the winner by a long shot. But today, we have Retail, Beaufort, and Matrix 2. So I'm going to go ahead, and as I have that poll running over on YouTube. Thank you for linking that, Wade. We are going to walk through a little bit what each of these typefaces are, how you might use them, who created them, how they interact with the program, and no better way than to hop into Retail. With Retail has Retail Variable. If you guys don't know what a variable font is, variable fonts are fonts that give you the freedom to kind of adjust the specific parameters of a typeface. So like here, you can turn on italics on and off. You can also move the weight, but it's not just like light, hairline, bold, black. Like you can move it anywhere between 100 and 800. And then so you could animate it that way. You could make some sort of system where like you would, set, 386 as the weight if you wanted it to happen. And every time there was a caption, but then if you wanted to do like a headline or something, you could bring it all the way up to 800. There's also the optical size here, which is between 6 and 27. And this is like another way of being able to add weight to it, which is not just increasing the size of the strokes, but gives you the ability to actually increase the size of the characters in relationship to one each other. So when you bring it up to 72, you can see that not only does the letters themselves get bigger, but also kind of the relationship that they have to one another. Their X height gets higher. The kerning and tracking itself kind of becomes a lot tighter. And you can continue to edit these things as you're going. And you can do all of this within the applications like Illustrator. And you can see here when you're turning on the italics and turning them on and off, we have different things like the G that are switching up and down. We always like to then bring it back into our little program here, and we like to write out the typeface file new, and we like to use it. So we're going to go here. We'll go to retail variable, retail. Oh, but it's not popping up for me. So we're going to go show back, and we're going to make sure that I was not a dork and I did not activate it, which is always a really great way to be able to show you how easy it is to turn on typefaces. You click add to your family, it pops up. You can manage your fonts in the Creative Cloud app if you want to. And then when you go back over to Photoshop, you give it a little refresh as far as the typeface itself. You hop in, and if everything is working according to plan, sometimes it takes a minute. So while we're waiting for that to go on, let's make sure we have all of them activated, because the next one that we have is Beaufort. But I guess we also need, for retail variable, this is coming from Jen Edmondson at OnoType, which we have talked about before. Bruce is in the chat. Welcome to Bruce. I almost called you Juice. Nice to see you, Juice. Hello, Behance and Adobe fam. Bring on the font of the week poll with some biting of the nails. Ooh. And then over on, I have to make sure I'm checking in on my Behance family while we're here. File new jumped over the lazy dog. Don't say that, because that makes it sound like we jumped the shark. We did not jump the shark. We might eventually, if we're so lucky, but right now, not so much. We're gonna go to Beaufort. This is from Nick Shin. We can see that it's already on there. We've got Matrix 2. Let's make sure that that's already also in there. Okay. So since they're all linked, let's try retail one more time, and see if it has updated for us. So we're going to hop into our type program, and we'll say, please give me retail variable. There it is. All right. So let's do like a variable text black. We'll go to file new, dude. And we'll scale this down like so. So that way we can see how it looks. We can also explore different glyphs. We can explore different ways that it pops up. You know, if you wanted to switch up specifics, you know, you have so many options here. We could do display thin. You know, if you go in here, you can always show alternatives for these, and you can see if it's lower or higher. You always can additionally go to, guess what? You guys named it, view. Wait, where's my glyphs? Glyphs. Is it our type? Come on, baby. Panels, glyphs panel. There we go. And then you can see all of the different things that you can actually make with this typeface. And this one even has cool little circles, like as if you're going on the subway, little sparks, hearts, stars, you name it. And yeah, it's also accessible on the right if you have it then activated. So we have that as file new. Let's move down to Beaufort. Beaufort. How should we say it? This one, I think is really pretty. This is going to be all one kind of typeface. And this one has a little bit of a serif to it. It is a serif as opposed to the sans serif that is retail. And this one comes to us from the folks at ShinType. It's designed by Nick Shin, which is Shinn. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4. It has like 10 different weights, I believe. It is a Engaging the issue of scalability. Beaufort configures vectors for serifs of extreme sharpness, independent of type size, limited only by device resolution. Scale of effect confronts the typographer with the design axis stretching from awesomely huge to preciously tiny. How big is enough, they say. Penny C says, "Oh, the sparkles, hearts, and stars. I take my vote back." Penny, I warned you. I warn you guys every single week. Do not vote too early. We have to get through all of them. But this one, we can see what this one also has in the glyphs panel just by pulling it up. This is still showing us retail, but we want to have it show the other one. So if we scroll down here, they have a Mac symbol, which I didn't even know you could have in these typefaces, but no sparkles. That said, very pretty typeface, has different things for different languages, has Greek letters as well, in case you're, in your sorority or fraternity. Many little tiny caps letters if you're working with caps, but then, you don't want the numbers to switch out, which if you guys aren't familiar with, like if you're writing out body copy and you're saying something like, hello, 444, or some more numbers, 492, and then you're going to say monkey. You can see that they kind of can blend in. Sometimes with some of these, what they'll do is they can mess with the x-axis so that you can then kind of adjust accordingly to have it fit in better, so it feels more like it has ascenders and descenders. So you'll see that this brings the 4 down, and if it were in like a line of text, it wouldn't kind of stand out as much as just having regular like numbers that are hanging out there. So you can change it so that it kind of blends into the eye more, so that you then don't have to worry about it not looking like letters. So then, if you say monkey, we'll say, I'm just going to elephant hammer. You see that like it looks a lot better than if you were to just do like 492, because if you do 492, your eye immediately goes to 492. But like if that's not the point of hierarchy of what you're working on in a body of copy, always look at those alternatives, and then that way you can kind of mess with where it's standing on the axis of the letters. And there are even modifications to the letters so that then they look different. As you can see, like the 9 and the 2 change. It's not just moving the x-axis, but it's also moving the scale of it, and moving it around so that it kind of fits in more. So that one's Beaufort. Definitely something that's a little bit nicer. I mean, we looked at mostly italics here, but if you look at just like regular too, it can be straight up and down, which is just as nice. And it can go all the way up to heavy italic, and it can go all the way down to just like light. And it can get real thin. But for our sake, I think my favorite of it all is medium italics. And it looks like that. Catching up on chat. Bruce is saying too funny. Ooh. It's quite close between Beaufort and retail so far, but we haven't even gotten to Matrix yet. Oliver saying, hello 492 monkey elephant hammer is a good password. It's actually not. What you should do for your passwords is you should come up with something that like means a lot to you. So like if you, in the case, like let's say that hello 492 monkey elephant hammer is something that we say a lot. It would probably be best to do like a H492 MEH, which is not anything to anybody else, but to all of us now, it is hello 492 monkey elephant hammer. It's also helpful to, if like the elephant has a name in the middle of it, to kind of like sneak the name into it, anything that's not generically there. But you also don't want to make it just like a random set of numbers. You want to be able to also have it so that it's something that you can remember and go back to, and you don't have to lose it. But enough about cybersecurity. Let's go into Matrix 2. I don't know what Matrix 1 is, but Matrix 2 is a very flexible typeface with lots of different options. We've got inline, we have script, we have tall, we have just like regular book. Testing it out with our regular H492 meh. And this is coming to us from who? Who's this coming from? This is coming from Emigre. Susanna Lico at Emigre. and you can see that it is this really cool serious and non-serious typeface. Has a bunch of different objects. It has also ornaments as its own thing, so it's not even in the glyphs. It just has the ability to have it. It says that it's a complete reworking of the original Matrix type family, which was designed by Zuzanna Lico in 1986, which is what, 30, help me, 38? Is that 38? 39? 39 years old? Is that right? 39. The redesign, which started in 2007, was initiated by the need to create an open-type version of Matrix. With the hood open, so to speak, Lico used the opportunity to make subtle changes and fine-tune many of the existing characters, which were designed some 20 years ago. The contrast between thick and thin strokes was decreased in some instances, and overshoots were corrected. The width of various characters are adjusted and regularized. The cross-stroke... Should I wear my glasses? Maybe we should do that. A purpose thing, I thought we were already on Matrix 4, you know? I actually didn't see Matrix 4, but that's beyond the point. 7 new fonts were also added to the family: a semi-narrow, semi-wide, semi-tall, inline, italic, and 3 weights of italic, a less flamboyant version of Matrix script. To clearly set this version apart from the original Matrix and to avoid conflict with previous versions, it was changed to Matrix 2. And yeah, so this one has like a lot of flexibility. It has an ability to be able to kind of like meet whatever mood that you want to have. And I think, I think that the italics looks really cool, but I'm always kind of biased towards it. We've got different flowers. You've got arrows. You have bursts. So I like the kind of idea of putting a burst in between the file and the new. But if we're doing it like that, maybe we don't do italic. Maybe we just do bold. Ooh, guys, that's looking pretty cool. That's looking pretty cool. I kind of like that file new. File new. It's every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. But then I also don't feel like it's fair because we didn't put... It's like unfair advantage. For this, do we just put the Mac logo in the middle of it? Or the Apple logo, not the Mac logo. Listen to me. What am I, 400 years old? We could do a little square because I don't really have... many other things here. Yeah, so Beaufort. We could put a little diamond. All right. And then for retail, let's do some sparkles because I know that was also going to make Penny a little upset. So these are 3 options. I'm going to keep it open for just a little bit longer. But these are 3 options I have: retail, Beaufort, and Matrix, all available on Adobe Fonts. We have 14, count on 1-4 votes. I feel like we can get up to 20, you guys. We're up to 15. All right, boom. What do you know? So we're going to need like 5 more people to vote. And then we will declare a winner because I feel like 15 is just too small of a sample pool to declare a winner. So, wow, you guys are popping off as soon as I mentioned the thing. But all right, we'll give it just a little bit more time. It's getting tighter. Well, it's like stressful this time because everyone's voting so fast. But these are the 3 different options that we have. And Tracy is here, says late, but here for voting. Yes. And Bruce says the sparkles for me, Penny. All right. So Bruce is voting on your behalf. And Alyssa was like, oh, do the star for all the fonts. Yes. Okay. So we were close. We got there. There is no star, I don't think, for the middle one. But I wish I could do it for you. Oliver says we need a font with a cat to put in the middle for file mew. File meow. All right, guys, we'll keep that running, and we'll come back into it in just a minute because we've got about 30 minutes left, and we've got some more stuff that I want to show you guys. And if you're cheating already, you can hop into the raindrop, and you can see that there's plenty more that we need to get through. But of course, you're not doing that because you want to watch and you want to be a part of it. As always, with each segment, I want to say, let me know if there's anything that you're really interested in and you want to talk about. Also, if there's any typefaces that you guys ever find and you want to put them up against other ones, please throw them in the Discord, throw them in the chat, and I'll make sure that we include them in the next font of the week and we can declare a winner. I feel like also we should, before season 3 ends, which will be before shutdown at June, because then season 4 will be coming back in July. We will have to do like maybe like a face-off of all the ones that have won in the past and go from there. But I'm wasting too much time, so let's hop into some resources. For resources, the first one's coming from Creative Block, which is a really resourceful website. This is coming from Derek Loftman, and it says, perfect your panels and pacing with these comic art tips from an expert. Marvel and Disney artist Derek Loftman explores which moments to illustrate and how to create visual interest in panels. And you guys know that I really like webcomics. I love comics in general. Derek Loftman is a bit of a star in the industry. And I think there are some really great call outs here that can really help you create more engaging panels and storytelling. As soon as you sit down to kind of start creating sequential art in any way, you realize, one, how much thought goes into it that you don't otherwise think of, and two, that it's really difficult to find new compositions and find new ways to keep things exciting for the reader and even for you as you're drawing it or creating it. I don't want to take views from everything, so I'm just going to kind of like cycle through, but there are 10 call outs here. I really like the idea of focusing on silence as something that's working out. It says, it's also vital to have time for your characters to breathe literally and figuratively. A quiet moment can make a difference in any scene. And I think this is also really good for being able to structurally lay out all of your pages as well, because if there's just like text, and action, it's like takes so much to look at. And you can do this obviously with like artboards in Photoshop if you want to line up everything together. Or, even if you're like then putting together in InDesign and you're creating. But just give yourself a quick readout here that then you can see when is the best time to take a step back and breathe, because then it makes the moments when things are actually happening are really, really strong and aren't kind of just lost and drowned out by everything else being loud. Because you think about like a movie, you think about a TV show, if it's just loud the whole time, nothing really feels loud after a period of time because you kind of just go numb to it. You kind of go like sound blind to it, which I know you could say deaf, but I feel like that's not the right thing. Another thing here, we'll also go just because it's right side by side, is vary your shapes. Something that's super important when you're doing character design. And I know Wade's in the chat, so Wade can definitely speak to this. This is obviously created by Derek Loftman. But the ability to create silhouettes and be able to tell them without any details is super important. So like quickly, I'm going to actually just copy and paste this. All credit and copyright obviously goes to Derek. I'm just going to use this quickly as an example. But like you can see here that all of these characters have their own personality with just the shapes. Sometimes it's really good to just start with shapes and then kind of, if you draw a bunch of shapes, you can then go from there. And we're going to do magic wand. I'm not going to sample all layers. I'm going to right click and then I'm going to click similar. I'm going to go to select, modify, just select inverse, and I'm going to do a fill here, option delete, and we can see that when we're looking at these characters, even though they are, all blacked out here, I'm going to get rid of the eyes because that's really funny that those worked out. You can tell immediately that they have different feelings still. It's not all the same. It's not, everyone's different heights, everyone's different weights, everyone's different stature in the way they stand. Like even the fact that he has a cane works a lot better and it has like larger things on his body in addition to his larger body size. Is really going to tell a lot. And so just keeping that in mind whenever you're creating characters or you're creating compositions, just being able to kind of break it down and think that, you're a 2-year-old and you're trying to figure out what the world is. That's how your viewers are essentially going to see it, because it's up to you to build the space. So if we're looking immediately right here, this is not an advertisement, right? This is just a screenshot. I messed that up. Advertisement's not supposed to be there. You can even see here that even if we were to black out everything here, which might take more time since we can't just like select everything. But even if we were to like black out all of this stuff, it is obvious. It is kind of a cutout of a human and then a cutout of a house and a cutout of a human. There's also this quiet moment here where he's just observing more and getting detail shots. But yeah, make sure you check it out. It's on Creative Block. Once again, all credit to Derek Loftman. And I thought it was just a really nice, easy, quick read. It only takes like 3 minutes to read through. There's like 10 things for it. But like I said, I don't want to steal views from anyone or anything. People are upset about the winner of the font of the week right now. We did go past 20, but it's still tight, so I'm going to let it run for a little bit more. Bruce is not happy with who is winning currently. And Penny's saying that it's a great resource, along with Bruce saying it. Winter is expressing that making comics is hard, and I'm in the middle of making one. Oh, Winter, I'd love to see what you're working on. What kind of genre are you doing? Are you into like action stuff or funny stuff, into serious stuff? There can be really depressing stuff. A friend of mine just offered me, or not offered me, he's lending me Something's Killing the Children, I think it's called. And that looks really, really pretty, and it's sitting on my desk, and I need to read it. Kirsty saying I haven't picked up a comic in ages. I know. That's the thing. It's like I've had it for a few weeks, but, you know, I need to. Wade says it's time for my AMA, I guess. Dude, we'd love to. If you guys have never caught one of Wade's streams, make sure you do. He does roller troll a lot sometimes on Adobe Live, but he's a really great character artist. And he's not specifically just a character artist, but when it comes to character making, he's really good at character making. Wade's saying once you build that language, it's also a fun way to add some deception if that's ever needed. Yeah, so you can make a really soft-looking character and have them turn out to be the villain. As an example, like Toy Story 3, Lotso Hugging Bear is very soft and welcoming and caring looking, but then you find out that, spoiler alert, he's the villain. Same thing with Toy Story 2, actually. Like, he's constrained physically into a box or something, and then he has still soft features, but then once again, he is not a nice guy. I also watch more than just Toy Story, but whatever. Khaled said, is the camera moving? Yes, I have it on a tripod, and I keep forgetting that it's back there, and I keep kicking it on accident. So I am sorry, because it also has the feature where it's following my face, so it is kind of tackling the two. Alessandra's agreeing that Wade is the boss of character drawing. And Oliver's asking if he needs to make yet another YouTube account to vote for the right font. It's breaking. Oh gosh, we actually have a tie right now. So now I really can't end it because there's two typefaces head to head. Definitely one of our closest votes that we've had so far. Winter's work that they're working on is a sci-fi piece. I love sci-fi. A mutant jellyfish saves our polluted planet. Well, they try to save it. I would love to see how that goes. Both as a story and as a graphic novel and a comic. So please, by all means, share it. If you need to share it privately, I'm happy to. But I would love to take it out and look at kind of what you're doing and how it comes along. Tracy says, it smells like strawberries. Yes, Lotso Huggin' Bear also has a smell deception as well. Oh yeah, I forgot to put the creative block up there. That next one also is from Creative Block, but this one is more about composition and more about being a creator online. This is coming from Tom May and says that, just checking, social media is dead now, right? Even Mark Zuckerberg knows it. Says Mark Zuckerberg's admitted as much in court that networks wanted to connect us now are dead platforms walking. Which, don't panic. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, if you're really doing a bunch of investment into any sort of social campaign, that's going to be nothing. More so what this is talking about is the fact that the way that like we were kind of trained to use social media back in 2008, when Facebook was like near its peak, was of its time, and now it's kind of disappeared. Basically, it's come to a point where now it's really switched over to ads and influencers, and people, when they're having meaningful connections and conversations, are no longer just posting it to like the public profile or posting it to Grid. What's happening a lot is people are increasingly shifting towards messaging apps, and you know, we're seeing this with Discord, WhatsApp, Signal, and even Instagram group messages. But the idea of just like posting something that isn't perfection onto Grid and just like to show you that like I had, you know, an ice cream sundae today is decreasing in popularity. Same things with like how like Twitter and Blue Sky and Mastodon are all changing as well. There's a sense of exhaustion between a lot of people. And this is also a generational thing where people over, you know, the age of 25 have one experience with social media. People under 25 have a different one, different generations. And you know, as far as things to come, like maybe nothing changes. Maybe there isn't a new platform that is the new TikTok, that is the new Facebook, because maybe it might just switch and change as everything else always changes. But social media might just turn into more messaging thing or not. As a creator, it's just important to remember that, you know, these metrics are all very confusing, and you might not see success in a social campaign, but it could be doing really well in messaging apps. Conversely, same thing. It might be doing really well, but it might not be resonating and being passed around between people. So it's just something to remember. And also, when you're creating content, be kind to yourself. Also, keep in mind that like these things might pop off somewhere else. And you only have so much visibility into what everything is. Then we have Halftone Generator. And I wasn't sure if I was going to put this in hyperlinks or not. If you're not familiar, hyperlinks is the section of the show where we go through different websites and stuff. And this is a website, but it is more of a resource directly just because it's kind of like direct in, direct out kind of situation. And so I wanted to highlight it. You can obviously create halftones and other things in Photoshop directly. But this pixel and dithering is just at pixelfun.versal.app. And it gives you quick ways to just upload an image and convert any image into halftone patterns. It says works best with objects. You can paste an image directly from your clipboard. And I probably should have picked some sort of thing. I need to find if I have any like good pictures that I can just put on here. You know what? I have Andrew and Nick for office hours, which is coming up next after this, which we could easily just turn into a halftone. We look at the original. This was coming up right after the show in 18 minutes about building your own brand. But you can mess with the dot size in real time, the spacing, threshold of like what is white, what is black, to kind of give a different look. You can also invert the colors if you want to, which in this case probably is for the best. Mess with spacing. You can switch between if it has like dual colors in it too, if you wanted to like change the dot color. And then you can also go to the dither, which is different ways of like being able to then create something with like sizes, rounded pixels, invert pixels. We can say file new, images or text. Ooh, that looks pretty cool. That's pretty cool. You can mess around with how much distortion you want, and this is all just happening within my browser. I don't have to leave it all. You could add gradients to the background if you wanted to. This is actually like almost halfway to file new branding right there, which is kind of cool. You can adjust the angle of the gradient, and then you can always export it as a PNG. Like I said, with this you can always take these same things, and if you wanted to have something similar in I'm going to take my own picture here. This is going to feel very self-absorbed, but here's my cute little picture. Really tiny for whatever reason. I have no resolution, I guess. You could always go to filter, and under filter gallery, there's actually a halftone. I think it's under sketch. And with that, you can continue to mess with it, but you don't, have maybe as much control over it as some of the other stuff. But you also do have different options, which is always nice. There's also a way that you can go in and you can do this without a filter. And instead what you do here is, I believe you would change the mode to grayscale. We're going to merge everything. This is going to freak out. And then we're going to go to mode bitmap, flatten everything. And then what you can do is you can go to halftone screen. And from here, this is going to then give you the frequency and the angle lines per inch or centimeter. You can pick the different shape or what have you, if you want to be diamond, ellipse, or square. And then you press close. And then that'll give you something that feels way more accurate. The only thing here is you're going to have to go in and out of it. But like when I was working on my save the dates and I needed to have a little halftone view, that's what I did. So by all means, this does not replace Photoshop. It's just another approach to the end. Alyssa says, not a picture of you on your own show. Yeah, there we go. Tracy says, Hurley said, I know y'all came to see me. All right, I'll take it. As long as you guys are unhappy with it. Wade says, I'd watch the Office Hours Lego movie because of Purvis saying the Lego Andrew and Lego Nick. You know what? They do Lego of, I know, like Eurovision, which was kind of funny. So, it's not totally out of the picture. Okay, guys, should we end the poll? Do we have a winner? It's tied again, guys. It's tied. We're up to 28 votes, but it's tied again. And Matrix is not out of the race, actually. So we need at least one more vote for something, as long as it's not matrix, to be able to end the poll. But if you haven't voted yet, make sure you hop over to YouTube real quick to vote for the font of the week. Otherwise, we might have our first ever tie, which was my own doing because I didn't stop it earlier. But also, I'm not sorry because it has not been decided. Next is an Illustrator tip. This comes from Claudie, who you guys know is an evangelist for Adobe. And she posts these really helpful carousels over on Reddit all the time. And so it's actually been quite easy to switch through my kind of regular checks to see for great content to just directly go towards Claudie's profile and see what she's sharing. But she did a beginner's deep dive into the pencil tool in Illustrator. And it shows that the pencil tool is great for fast sketching or creating a hand-drawn look. You can click and drag to start drawing. The stroke that appears when you draw is called a path. A path is made up of a series of points called anchor points and the line segments between these points. You can move, delete, and adjust anchor points to change the path, and you can use the direct selection tool to move or select individual anchor points, use the pen tool to add or remove points, double click the pencil tool to open the pencil tool options like fidelity. You can make sure that the left side makes so accurate that then like you can see every kind of wiggle and shake you have, or if you want to the right to smooth it out. The fidelity slider has 5 preset stops you can select, including smoothest, which is the rightmost slider presents, creates the smoothest of paths. And then down here on the bottom, someone hopped in and said, you completely skipped the most important parts, the pencil settings. But this is done on purpose because Claudia wanted to make it as a beginner's thing. But okay, if you are a little bit more of an expert here, you can double click on the pencil tool, turn on fill new pencil strokes and edit selected, turn off keep selected, and now you can quickly knock out tons of filled shapes, which they find to be a major speed up. It says, and more mundanely, you can actually make a rough sketch now without it constantly trying to edit the last shape you drew in the same area. So it's always good to always hop into the comments on Adobe Illustrator and see how other people are using the same tools. This is one of those tools that like for beginners is very accessible at the very beginning of being able to touch, but the more you get to know it, the more it becomes resourceful. Oh no. We got up to 32 votes, but then it's tied again. Almost a 3-way tie. We're at 34%, 34%, and 31%. Every time I look away, you guys have more votes, and we don't get in. This will be our biggest vote yet if we get this to 33 votes. But we only have a few minutes left, so quickly. We have an open letter to all, and this is coming from someone else on the typography subreddit. These are a list of different things that you can kind of focus on to learn more about type, learn more about different typefaces specifically, and ways to improve your education and your information. One of them being this Typographica Independent Type Foundry. They haven't really updated it. I couldn't find since 2019, but that said, as you hop into both of these, they do really good write-ups as to why they like typefaces, what makes it strong, what doesn't make it strong, and you can relate that and then apply that to other typefaces that you know, and that you are checking out to see if they're good or not, and then you can make your own judgments, which is really good. Then also we have everywhere.tools. This is kind of also, once again, kind of close to a hyperlinks again, but is instead this right here. And it is a collection of open source tools for designers and creatives. There's the space type generator. We've gone over actually the gradient tool, drawing tool before on the stream before. This is where I actually found tools for the lo-fi effect. There's also another halftone maker, you know, photo gradients, you name it. And I believe they continue to update these. This is apparently coming to us from Daniel Vladimirov and exists to inspire designers and developers to experiment, share, and create the next wave of design tools. And that's just at everywhere.tools, also linked. We're still at 32 votes. I'm like stressing out because we haven't declared a winner yet, and we only have 5 minutes left. This is the tools thing that I was just talking about 5 seconds ago. And it is another kind of low fidelity looking vibe where it says free minimalist and lo-fi effects for image and video processing online. You can do, once again, things like dots, patterns, edge, You can mess with the canvas size, the blur, the grain, and you can upload your own media as a JPEG, a PNG, or an MP4, which is really cool. Just a web tool. And then you could always bring this over back into something like a Photoshop project or something, and then be able to adjust it or maybe try to recreate it, or just include it in your export. Thank you, Wade, for... Oh, okay. All right. I'm ending the poll because we're up to 34 votes and we have a winner. So the winner of this week for Font of the Week, y'all. Round of applause, please, for Beaufort. Way to go. I'm going to put it on his head, actually. I feel like each week we're picking the ones where we can put it on someone. So it's a very large crown this week. Also, we should make like a type. I should make a little T out of that and like little like cursor or whatever. But winner, chicken dinner. 35%. Retail had 30% and Matrix 2 had 32%. So it was quite a tight race. And thank you to everyone who absolutely voted. Really appreciate you. I have a feeling maybe some of you cheated and logged in with other ones, but you know what? I have no way of proving that. We only have about a minute left. Not really. We have like 3 minutes left, but it feels like 1 minute left. And I want to make sure that I also highlight and spotlight our friend James. James lets me use his videos all the time. But he recently, last week, uploaded a video about the Gestalt principles. We've talked about these before on stream before, but they're really good to know for design, both in life as a designer, not in design, but even like, creating just things that people are able to understand and you can figure out why they understand. There's similarity, proximity, continuity, closure, and figure and ground. You can read extensively about these and find really good examples, but James does a really good job at one, making them silly to remember, and two, also just quickly be able to kind of flip through them within like 30 seconds. And he makes it all possible to understand them. He says, please don't judge me for my masking in Premiere Pro, which is what he did with his fingers with continuity. Really, really good one. Thanks to James, friend of the show, and always good to highlight his stuff. We then have a few more links, but we ran out of time, so we can either talk about them on Discord, like the Live Nation rebrand, or we can talk about them next week. How about we do this? How about we talk about this on the Discord, which you guys should all join, and then we can talk about what we talked about on the Discord on stream next week, which will be on Wednesday. Same time, same place. Next up, we have our friends Andrew and Nick with Office Hours. They've got some really good stuff. So make sure you guys stick around and check that out. You'll automatically be pushed over there after this. I will be back on Friday with a recap of the week. I think I'm going to be live 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be like one of the Okay, this is probably way worse sounding. I don't know why this microphone stopped working. It has its red light on. Wait, is that the mute? Did I mute it? Did I mute? Unmute? I don't know. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll be back on Friday. I don't know when that lost, but I'll be back on Friday for a recap of the week. But we probably ran out of time anyway. Clip it. Clip you. Get out of here. Thanks for watching. Bye.